Try to make that south line as visible as possible, but you know, they typically know where it is. The calves don't. That's the only problem. Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Ohrmundt Simmentals. All right, it is Saturday morning, and it is a muggy one out here. It's not so much the heat, it's the gosh darn humidity. This afternoon, we will be rotating and putting the cows on the yellow water. We do have some road base for that hole, but the issue we have right now is getting there. And I've been trying to think of the best way to get there, because to skip across one field, we would have to go through a mud hole or a low spot. To skip across another field, we'd have to go through a low spot. There's one spot, but I think we'd have to go like this way, and then at a certain spot bend over, and then kind of bend back and do it that way. I think there's a way we could get there. And then also finishing taking off the duals this morning too. But before all that gets going, I'm going to feed the steers, and then Dad's going to help me with just a little inside project, some electrical work, and then after that we'll probably go work on duals. All right, inside project this morning took a little longer than we thought, but that was all right. It is pretty darn muggy out here. Thankfully, it's cloudy, and there's a really nice breeze. So what we're actually going to do, instead of finishing the duals, is we're gonna try and get out there and haul some rock and some fill out to the water. So this is kind of our pile where we stash rock and stuff that we've collected over the years, and concrete block. There is quite a variety of sizes, so Dad's trying to move around some of the bigger stuff. All right, we got our load of rock. Let's see if we can get out there without getting stuck. All right, now on the way out here, on our last load, this I hit with the stupid axle. I'll just slip that back in there. There we go. But it started to cut in. Wanted to stay close to the fence, but I know it's going to be soft. But where'd it go? Oh, it's right here. This guy. This has been like this for a while. You can see where it's been burning. So we'll do that. Actually, I will reset a couple of these here. These posts don't have to be great. This is just an intermediate fence, and let's be honest, it's not the fence that keeps them in these intermediate spots. It's good juice and solid grass. I don't know if we're gonna get more than these 2 loads, because Dad would like to put some road base other places, because we also talked about, let's put it out, let's see what it does, let them go through this rotation. If we need to get more in a couple weeks, you know, kind of let them pack this in, see what happens, and then maybe we get more and put a couple more loads on top of it. All right, so we'll chalk that project up to improved status. So the next step for that project would probably be, well, it will be, let them beat it up, pound it down for like the next week and a half or so. Actually probably be closer to 2 weeks, and then they're behind the house, which tells me starting next week I'm gonna probably have to start picking away at making fence behind the house. I always hate that project, but it always needs to be done. Well, luckily Bethany came out with me because she's gonna run back. I needed a hammer. I got a 2-pound hammer or whatever that I'm gonna pound this T-post in, and of course I forgot it. Got all our posts and everything, and the cows are right where we need them to be. Just coming out to check out the water tank. Oh, it picked up pace. It's a little kitty wampus too. Yeah, though they're gonna beat this up a little bit, but we needed the material here. We needed to start getting material here. So this was a start. I'm guessing we're gonna need probably at least 1 more green trailer load, if not 2. The cows right there, we ran that line straight across. So their current back line and their current front line, they meet, where are they? They're like, it's like that tree right in there. Okay, so they meet right at this point right here. They meet together. They're at the exact point. So we've been pivoting around that culvert for like the last week or so, and now we're making a big swing. Instead of pivoting around the culvert, that's our new anchor point, and now we're making a pivot this way and swinging this way so they can get to the yellow water. So what we're gonna do, and if you remember last year, I used to run a fence line here to those T-posts right over there, and then actually past those T-posts. Last year I took this all down because what I was running into was that this section here was always the on-off section for this field. And what happened last year, because of all the rain, this just got totally beat to snot. But as you can see, it has started to come back. There's still some remnants of it. But now if you look out, you can tell that like right over here, right in here, and then especially, this was the really, really bad spot right in here. Now you can see where we've got taller grass here, that's like, that stuff's like belly button high, and then it's like 6-inch tall stuff in the middle. So I'm actually very surprised at how well that area has come back versus the way it looked last year. This strip right in here, it was 4 inches of just soup mud last year. It was bad. So hopefully what we did last year, if you remember, I took the drag out there, kind of ripped it up a little bit. We got the broadcast spreader fixed last year, and then broadcast some seed out there, and then went back over the top of it again. So I think some of that helped, especially in some spots where you can see like isolated spots of fresh ryegrass or timothy. All right, these cows are going to be pretty happy to get in here. Nice cool grass on a day like today. They've been pretty good. We did have one animal that was in heat today, which I always hate when they come in heat on a day that's so hot, because typically they don't come in really good heat. Sometimes the bull isn't exactly firing on all cylinders either, so that's another issue, but hopefully he took care of the job. But these guys are ready. They are ready. They took care of their last chunk pretty well, but they didn't wreck anything. No. And the fly pressure, of course, is starting to pick up too, so we're gonna have to get their mineral feeder down here because they're not gonna have access to it. Well, the only thing that happens with this chunk, when we make this big pivot like this, is when they find out where their water is, they tend to go and get a little excited. So I like to make my way back there fairly quickly, because that is always one thing that makes me nervous is, we try to make that south line as visible as possible, but they typically know where it is. The calves don't. That's the only problem. They see it. That's one reason I put that ribbon on the top there. You get even the slightest breeze and that stuff, it's the 1 inch or 3/4 inch wide, and that whips pretty nicely.
Here comes my girl. Hi, Mama.
Photo's daughter is really darkened up. Hey, Photo.
Here's my girl.
Hey, good morning. Today's supposed to get into like mid upper 90s. All right, so we're gonna drop this spike, head down to the shop, and chip away at those duals a little bit. Got it. All right, we pulled out the big guns. Make sure we're going in the right direction here. Yup. Huh. All right, we got the duals off and we got that widened out to where we want it. We turned it around because we're actually going to widen out the front tires then too. Right now we're going to try and grab the duals here that are on a pallet. I got them decent. All right, time to head back to the shop. So I haven't done any updates because it's being a real pain in the ass. So apparently the way the front end was set up is probably the original place it was set up. Everything is really rusted tight. We got the actual axle set, but now the tie rod does not want to move. So our last resort is heat. All right, so what have we been up to? You saw a little bit of flame. And yeah, you saw a little bit of flame on this nicely painted tractor. Yeah, and we do want to repaint that. Like, we're not gonna let it sit like that. So the whole thought was we want to widen the tires out. Like, we like the back wheels being out. That's, you know, again, why it would be nice to have another one of these guys, whether it's 4430, 4030, 4230, you know, something in that 100 horsepower range that could do baling, could do backup on maybe disking if it had duals. But our biggest thing to widening out the front tires especially, and also with the back tires, is not driving over hay, driving over dry hay and then baling it. Because sometimes you'll run it over and then you'll mash those corners down. If you don't have your pickup head set right, it won't pick it up. And if you do have it set low enough to pick it up, now you're picking up dirt. So we wanted to widen this out. We don't care if we put the duals back. If we put the duals back on, do tillage, it doesn't matter that the front tires are a little wider. We got a feeling that this was probably the original setting for the tires, or it just hasn't been touched in probably 20 years. So we end up with this situation. This is finally cooled down, but very dry, rusted. These bolts here, we put new bolts in. They were rusted, but this is all marred up from frickin' pipe wrench. We had to put a pipe wrench on this side and then a pipe wrench back here. Heated up the outer sleeve and then actually put a cheater bar on the pipe wrench, and we finally got it to spin. And then once we got like maybe a full revolution, everything broke loose, and then it was easy enough to move. These guys weren't horrible. We took them out. They are fine thread. We took them out. We cleaned them up, put them back in, put oil all on the bolt itself, so that it's, if we ever have to do it again in the next couple of years, hopefully that helps itself a little bit. This side is not final done. We just want to make sure that we can get this side done. But it actually looks like somebody had already been doing a little beat work with this guy. So we're kind of hoping that this side will be a little bit easier, but if it don't go, we're going straight to heat and that pipe wrench idea. And then once we get it set right, we can tape off all the areas and we'll frickin' spray paint it. I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy, but it at least needs to kind of match the rest of the tractor. All right, and hopefully this week the weather changes a little bit and we can finally knock down a little hay, because we're getting really close to crunch time. Unfortunately, this is basically turning out to be like last year. We take what we can get and we just do what we can when we can. So, all right, it is Sunday. It is the end of the day, and it's the end of the weekend, unfortunately. But I'm going to go find some air conditioning. But yeah, it is the end of the day. We still have a couple more things. We got to run to town yet tonight. It's our normal Sunday night run to town. But yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. Please hit that thumbs up button. And if you have any questions, by all means, please leave them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. Help us get to our goal of 2,000 subs. And as always, thanks for coming along.